Okay, so this is my version of how I figure out how many heads tall a character is or keeping proportions. A lot of people struggle with this because what you'll do is kind of go straight into the character itself and have kind of a straight ahead approach, right? So you'll start drawing from the top of the head all the way down to the feet. And you say, that makes sense. Why would you think that's not a good idea, Carol? No. I'm not saying that that's wrong, but I'm just saying that you will get a different result. A lot of times, if you're unpracticed, and or say for instance, if you are, just starting out, and you want to make sure that your character's proportions are correct or, quote unquote, normal human sized, you might want to use this head technique, which is super old. And the main idea for this technique is using the head as a measuring device. So you're saying a person is so many heads tall, and that's actually going to be based off of the size of their own head, right? So say for instance, I am, a certain amount of Carol heads tall. You are a certain amount of you heads tall, but you'd have to measure your own head and then pretty much duplicate that from the ground up until you actually meet your actual size. Most people are considered to be about 8 heads tall if you're drawing an adult figure. A normal measuring point is somewhere in the middle of those heads, so you have the midpoint, that'll be where the hips are, and then you'll take everything else in halves. So half of that will be, where your half of the lower half of your body will be where the legs are, and then a half of the upper part of your body will be kind of that bend where your torso is. I think it's a good idea to know the physicality of yourself. Figure out where, if you bunched up your arms kind of like this, does your hips start where your elbows are? That's kind of what I'm drawing out here, because I find that that's a pretty decent measuring area. Maybe a little bit, a couple inches off, but that is usually how I'll draw my characters out, and that's actually how I built myself. You also need to take note of the rhythm of the body as well. And I think that that's where a lot of characters seem to look kind of stiff, because we don't note the actual in out of the body and that gesture. So I really recommend, if you have time to go to a website like Pose Maniacs, or go to an actual figure drawing class, you want to be able to really understand the body. That's how you're going to do it. Those really fast gesture drawings. Now, what happens if, your figure is a child, or maybe you want to do a chibified drawing? That's oh boy, I feel showing my anime fanness. I'm don't you guys know what that is? It's a smaller version, or more cartoony, I guess, version of full figure. You can just expand how big the head is. You could do that, and then cut your proportions in half. That's at least what I like to do when I'm doing kind of childlike or figures that are more cartoony. So it's still the same proportions. They're half. So, 2 heads, then boom, I'm at the middle. And then I use the bean body, which is an animation technique. And that helps me create rhythm in this like kind of childlike pose. And not only that, but it's a friendly reminder to know that your hips are always, you know, for a standing pose, are going to come and tilt forward, and then your chest is also going to tilt kind of backwards. So it kind of creates that, you know, like long abdomen area. So that is it for the proportions in Heads Tall. Check out some more videos in regards to character design, and hope to see you soon.